Hey everyone, Adam here, and welcome to Secret Spool's first Storytime Saturday. Today's story is about a teenager who found themselves in an impossible situation, a late-night drive home, a dangerous choice to make, and a courtroom battle where their integrity was on the line. It's a story about courage, responsibility, and the cost of doing the right thing. Let's get into it. It was late one weekend night, and the streets were nearly empty. I had just left a friend's house, and my main focus was getting home before curfew. I was under 18, and in my state, that meant I had to be off the roads by 11 p.m. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but that night I learned how quickly normal can change. The road stretched ahead, quiet and dim under the glow of street lamps. Then I noticed a car weaving across lanes in front of me. At first, I thought the driver might be distracted, but then the vehicle swung violently toward the shoulder, corrected hard, and nearly crossed the center line again. My grip on the wheel tightened. This wasn't someone glancing at their phone or adjusting the radio. This was dangerous. I slowed my speed, putting some distance between us, and tried to process what I was seeing. Every nerve in me screamed that something was wrong. I had a choice. I could ignore it and make it home in time, or I could act. I imagined what might happen if I just drove away. That car could plow into another vehicle, swerve into a pedestrian, or cause a head-on collision. Could I live with myself if I woke up the next morning to see on the news that a family was gone? When I could have stopped it? The answer was clear. I picked up my phone and called 911. My voice was shaky as I told the dispatcher, "There's a driver in front of me who's all over the road. I think they might be drunk." The dispatcher's tone was calm but serious. They told me to keep my distance, stay behind the driver, and continue giving updates on our location until police could arrive. So that's what I did. My headlights stayed locked on the weaving vehicle ahead. Every swerve made my stomach knot. At any second, I expected to see brake lights flash too late, metal crunching, glass shattering. I kept thinking, if he loses control, where do I go? Do I pull to the shoulder? Will he come straight at me? The minutes stretched on, and with every curve in the road, the danger felt sharper. My curfew had long since slipped past, but at that point, I wasn't thinking about rules. I was thinking about lives. I kept asking myself if I was doing the right thing. What if the man noticed me following him and got angry? What if I was putting myself in danger by staying close? At the same time, the thought of someone's family out on the road, blindsided by his reckless driving, kept flashing in my head. I told myself, better me being uncomfortable for a while than someone else losing their life tonight. That thought was the only thing that kept me steady behind the wheel. Finally, relief arrived. Flashing red and blue lights lit up the darkness, pulling up behind me. Officers surged forward, forcing the car to a stop. I parked nearby and watched, heart still pounding, as the driver stumbled out. The sobriety tests made the truth obvious. He was drunk, extremely drunk. They cuffed him right there on the side of the road. One of the officers walked over to me for a statement. I explained what I had seen and how I had been asked by 911 to follow. I handed him my license. That's when everything turned upside down. "You're under 18, he said. "You're not allowed to be driving after 11. I froze. It was after 11. I explained quickly. I would have been home by curfew, but I saw the drunk driver. The dispatcher told me to keep following. The officer shook his head. "Doesn't matter. Even if you stopped World War III, the law is the law. You broke curfew, so I have to give you a ticket." My jaw dropped. I had just helped stop a drunk driver who could have killed someone, and instead of being thanked, I was punished. And to make matters worse, the officer warned that if I drove myself home, he'd have to ticket me again. So, defeated, I called my parents. They came, drove me home, and I sat silently in the passenger seat, trying to wrap my head around how wrong it all felt. The following days were miserable. The ticket meant I had to either pay or plead not guilty. If I ignored it, I risked even bigger consequences. I didn't have the money for the fine, but more than that, it felt so unjust. I went online looking for advice. Over and over, people said the same thing. Don't just pay it. Go to court. Tell your side. Some even mentioned the justification defense, a legal principle where breaking a smaller law can be excused if it prevents a greater harm. That was exactly what had happened. So I decided to fight it. I pled not guilty. Weeks later, the court date arrived. Just walking into that courthouse was intimidating. The ceilings seemed impossibly tall, the air smelled faintly of varnished wood and old paper, and every sound echoed like it carried extra weight. I sat in the gallery, waiting for my turn, watching other cases. People shuffled nervously, lawyers whispered to their clients, and the judge kept order with a calm but firm presence. I couldn't help but think, I don't belong here. I'm just a kid. When my name was called, my legs felt like lead as I stood. The officer testified first. He said he had found me pulled over at the side of the road, that I admitted to driving past curfew, and that was all he needed to prove my guilt. He didn't mention the 911 call. He didn't mention the dispatcher's instructions. Just, the law is the law. Then it was my turn. I remember sitting in that courtroom before my case was called, watching other people step up to face the judge. Some had lawyers who spoke confidently for them. Others shuffled nervously, mumbling their way through explanations. The room felt enormous, and every cough, every shuffled paper seemed to echo. When my turn finally came, I felt so small, standing alone under the weight of that high ceiling and the judge's steady gaze. My palms were slick, my throat dry, but then I reminded myself, this wasn't about me trying to get away with something. This was about doing the right thing and making sure the truth was heard. My voice wavered at first, but I steadied it. I explained everything, noticing the swerving, calling 911, following as instructed. I told the judge I would have been home on time otherwise. I presented my evidence, my phone records showing I called before curfew, my carrier's confirmation, and even a copy of the drunk driver's criminal complaint. The man's blood alcohol content was 0.12. Proof that my instincts had been right. Finally, I explained the justification defense. Yes, I broke curfew, I admitted, but I did it because I believed someone could be killed. Curfew is a minor offense. Drunk driving can destroy lives. I chose the lesser wrong to stop a far greater danger. The judge leaned forward, asking the officer, what was the driver's BAC? The officer hesitated, then admitted 0.12. The judge nodded, then turned to me. His voice was steady. You've proven your defense. By a preponderance of the evidence, you acted to prevent a greater harm. You did the right thing, not guilty. Relief crashed over me like a tidal wave. My knees nearly buckled from the weight lifting off. Weeks of fear and doubt vanished in an instant. When I walked out of that courtroom, my parents hugged me tight. My mom whispered, "We're so proud of you." My dad said, "This is the kind of judgment that matters. You didn't just think of yourself, you thought of others." As we left, I realized the bigger lesson. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good at first. Sometimes it looks like punishment, like being misunderstood, like standing alone. But in the end, truth matters, courage matters, and standing up for others is never the wrong choice. Walking out of that building, I couldn't help but think about how differently things might have gone if I had stayed silent that night. That driver could have crashed into another car, or worse, an innocent pedestrian. The idea haunted me. I realized then that responsibility isn't about convenience. It's about doing what you can, when you can, even if it costs you. My parents reminded me that one person really can make a difference. And in that moment, I finally believed them. This story shows us that integrity often comes with a cost, but it's always worth it. Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking a smaller rule to prevent a bigger harm, and that takes courage. What about you? Have you ever had to make a tough choice like this? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back next week for another Storytime Saturday. Until then, stay safe and keep doing what's right, even when it's hard.